Alright, I'm going to do a video today just on footwear for the outdoors. Now, what you see here is a variety of military combat boot. Now we all know that as people as outdoors, there is a ton of choices out there. However, you know me, if you've watched my videos, you know that I like military gear. And I always say if it's good enough for our troops in combat, then it's good enough for me for whatever I'm doing just out in the woods, traipsing in the woods. Now that being said though, there is a lot of choices of boots out there. A lot of good choices. You know, one of the first pairs of boots that I've had, I've owned a few pairs of these over the years, but this is the one that I've had the longest, and these are just your standard GI desert boot, Bellevilles. I believe that's what these are, Belleville, yep. I think actually these are all Bellevilles. Actually, these are just your standard desert boot, combat boot, tread on it, and noticed I have a crack here on it. I'm gonna have to put some epoxy in there to fix that or something, because they are still a good boot even though that. And you know, when you're outdoors, you know, you want a good boot that's gonna give you support, comfort, and you know, give your ankles support and things like that, and some protection from whatever is out there. I also have these pairs. It's another pair of Bellevilles, but these happen to be Gore-Tex lined, so they are a waterproof boot. Different, see how these are just nylon right here. These are actually Gore-Tex lined. So, and I've only had these for a little over a year now. Haven't worn them a whole lot, but they are actually very comfortable. A very comfortable boot. The tread on them is actually the same. It's a Vibram sole, exactly the same as these. I have wore them in wet conditions, and they do keep your feet dry and warm as well. I wore them not this past winter, but the winter before. We had actually had some snow one night, and I went for an evening walk to test out my gear, you know, my extreme cold weather jacket and things like that. And you know, I wore 2 pairs of socks, because these, you know, these really aren't, I mean, they're a cold weather boot, but you know, it's not just strictly a cold weather boot. But you know, 2 pairs of socks on here, just cotton socks, and my feet were actually too hot. So you know, it was probably, I don't know, below freezing, of course, you know, but my feet were actually too hot. So 2 pairs of socks with that, but they were dry, you know, and I've wore these in wet conditions. They were dry. I'm not sure exactly how waterproof they would be if you stuck your foot in a creek or something trying to cross it. Imagine they'd stay pretty dry, as long as you didn't get over the top of the boot. But even more better than that, really, is these. This is like their Khyber Pass boot or something like that. I'm not sure exactly what model. It's the Tactical Research. Yeah, it says style TR 360. Not sure if that's the model number, because I know that they have a couple of different pairs of Khyber boots, but these are more of a, you know, it's a desert boot also, but it's more of a active boot, I guess you could say, more of a for somebody, you know, being more active, because it's made, this one's made for climbing, and it's got a lot more grip on the front. It's got more grip on the back as you're going up and down climbing, you know, if you had to rock climb, things like that. This also has, where you can see, has these cutouts like that where you get, you know, you get more bend in it and everything like that. These do not, however, you know, that's a pretty stiff sole. And of course this one's a little bit thinner, but it's a little more wore out. But see, these do not have the same type of thing on the back. See, these are all leather reinforced, suede or whatever it is, plus that's just your standard, and this has even got another, you know, layer of leather over the top of that. But you know, outdoor boot, you know, is a high priority for us outdoorsmen people. These are also all good for, you know, shit hits the fan, armed prepared citizen, being ready to go, you know. And I bought these two pairs used, actually. We have our local gun and pawn shop, so I bought those used. I actually paid like 20 bucks for these. I've probably had these for, man, 4, maybe 5 years now going on. I've had these for about a year and a half. And, you know, they were used because, you know, he's got several pairs of boots in there. People bring them in, trade them, sell them, don't want them anymore. And so I bought them. You know, I bought them. These were actually given to me by my dad. He gave these to me. He's got several pairs of boots, and he likes military gear too. He was a ex-military. He was in the Vietnam, a combat engineer. So he still, you know, has that tendency to buy you know, military gear too, still to this day, even though he's in his early 70s, because he just knows it's good stuff, and that's kind of what he's, you know, used to and stuff like that too. But he had several pairs of these, gave me these, and I was like, cool, you know, because I was looking at buying some anyway. I had a pair of, I can't remember what brand it was. I think it was, I almost want to say it was the Rockies, and they were really nice, but they were slightly too big for me, and they kept moving back and forth. So I just kind of I traded them off for something, and that was 3 or 4 years ago. But these fit. So, but yeah, extra protection, you know. These even got a little bit more pad to them than all these right here. So I'm going to start wearing these a lot more. And they may even be pretty hot, because you can almost like probably use this in cold weather, because I mean, I think these are even thicker than this as a padding and things around it. So, but these have like a special arch in it, in the foot, the inside of the sole, and the padding and stuff has been designed for extra added comfort and things like that. So for agility and things like that, and even though at my age I'm not going to be doing too much agility unless I have to, but still though, that's just, you know, kind of a brief overview. Like I said, there is a multitude of types of boots out there, and I'm sure every one of you watching this has a pair of decent boots that you wear when you're out indoors. And you can't really stress enough how important taking care of your feet are when you're out in the woods and doing whatever you're doing, because there's just a lot of hazards out there, and that, you know, this can save you from breaking your neck, save you from breaking your foot, you know. Perhaps, you know, keep snakes and other biting creatures out there from getting into your boot and your foot and all that kind of stuff. And you know, tennis shoes are okay, and they're good for just like walking on the trail and stuff, if it's a good trail without too much obstruction on it. But you know me, I'm out in the woods, out in the field, rocks, grass, up and down, things like that. So this stuff works for me, and you know, and as a armed prepared citizen, it's good to have stuff like this to go, because these are going to be much tougher and outlast a tennis shoe any day, and protect your feet and just have you ready to go. So I mean, and these are excellent right here. I really like these right here, and this has been a good boot, and I still will wear these. So, but anyway, that's just kind of my deal. You know, just a little talk about, you know, footwear when you're outdoors, because I mean, it's a very important subject, and that's really all I got on that. You know, just it's not a review of these boots or anything. It's just kind of a, you know, this is what I got, you know, kind of deal, and what I choose for myself and things like that. Not that I would be opposed to wearing any other good outdoor boot, because I would, you know, if I find some good ones, I'd get them. And there's actually a couple other pairs that are non-military that real heavy duty, nice looking, and look like they would be a good functioning boot. So that I've seen. I just haven't bought them, but these have worked good for me. The only thing I will say about these is because of this type of sole on ice, doesn't really seem to work too well. It seems like the sole gets really hard when it's cold, and it's pretty slick. Both of them actually. So this one maybe not as much, because this one feels a little more rubbery than this one. This one looks pretty hard. However, this one got a pretty hard thing to it. I don't know how good this will work actually on ice and stuff. And being desert boots, they may not work at all really that good. So, but however, when I did wear these, when it was icing and snowing, they were not slick at all. So we'll see. But my feet were warm and dry. Anyway, keep it heavy.